Are you new when it comes to Task 1 writing? It can be overwhelming when you're looking at all those graphs and trying to understand what they mean, and then perform your task of analyzing, then reporting the main trends. If you're joining us for the first time, this is a YouTube channel and a podcast helping new and intermediate IELTS test takers understand the exam and attain higher results. One of the top IELTS websites and arguably the authority on IELTS would be IELTS Liz, who has been a founder in this space and sets the standard. Back in 2014, Liz created 12 steps for preparing for academic Task 1 writing, which will help you get ready for this report. Remember, it's not an essay and it's actually a report. Got it? Okay, let's jump into her 12 steps now. The first step Liz mentions is to really understand Task 1. So, we need to write an academic report on a chart or graph. We need to ensure that it's over 150 words, as the examiner will count your words and there will be a penalty for being under the word count. Finally, you will need to write your report in 20 minutes. And Liz recommends not taking more than this time, since Task 2 is worth double the marks of Task 1. Second, we need to jump into some practice tests. There are materials published by Cambridge, Barron's, and a host of others, though Cambridge is your best bet since they have actual exams from the past. The content might be dated, especially when it comes to the dates or years for the Task 1 graphs, but at least you know that the material is authentic and will be very similar to what you will receive on your test day. Third, it's essential that you really understand the band scores for each criterion for Task 1 so that you understand how you'll be assessed. The 4 areas you'll be marked on are as follows: task achievement, which is 25%, coherence and cohesion, another 25%, vocabulary, again, 25%, and finally, grammatical range and accuracy, again, 25%. Make sure that you take the time to get to know the requirements for each of these criterion. You can easily find the Task 1 writing rubric over at the IELTS website. Your examiner is going to give you a band score for each individual criterion, and then you'll receive a final score based on the average respectively. After ensuring that you really understand the band scores and the marking criteria, make sure that you learn and practice all the variations of Task 1, and this is going to be step 4. Most of us know that IELTS Task 1 contains bar and line graphs, but there's so much more than this. You may also come across maps, diagrams, tables, pie charts, and flowcharts. Liz also goes on to say that you might even get a combination of 2 different types of graphs, such as a pie chart with a bar chart. In other words, it's best that you're familiar with all these variations so that you're not caught off guard on your test day. Once you're familiar with the various types of charts that you may receive, it's essential that you can write your introductory paragraph for Task 1, which is our 5th step in our preparation process. This is typically quick to write and follows a particular standard. Let's get into writing introductions in another video. Let's move on to step number 6, and this is to learn and improve your overview writing process. We need to practice identifying only the key features for various kinds of charts that you may encounter. The key features are what essentially make up the content for your most important paragraph of this report, which is the overview. When we look at charts, our key features will be the lowest categories, the highest categories, and the differences between these categories. You may struggle to identify the key stages for the diagrams, such as a process or flow chart, and these will definitely require some practice on your part. Liz also mentions that so many students are confused on having a conclusion for Task 1, and we need to ensure that we only have a concluding sentence, not a concluding paragraph for this report. Regarding the overview, we can place it at the beginning of the report or at the end, but never in the middle of the report. Okay, we're now at step 7, and this is vocab. For each type of writing task, it's important to get a useful list of vocabulary. When it comes to pie charts, maps, and line graphs, this is super important, guys. When it comes to line graphs, this has the largest range of possible vocab that can be used. If you want to attain a really high score for Task 1 writing, it's important that you use a range of words, but this means that you're going to have to paraphrase quite a bit. But as always, we need to ensure that our spelling's correct when using a wide range of vocab so that we don't lose marks in our spelling. We're up to step 8 of Liz's prep tips for IELTS. We're now going to concentrate on grammar. If you really want to achieve a band 6 or above, it's going to be essential that you work on developing your skills for writing complex sentence structures. On the upside, you can learn a sentence structure for Task 1 that you can adapt for each of the Task 1 writing tasks. Range for grammar's not only what's important, and you will need to ensure that you are accurate. In other words, the more mistakes that you make, the lower your score is going to be. Make sure that you eliminate common errors so that you don't end up with a band score of 5 or below. Next up is step 9, and that is the structure for Task 1 writing. Your examiner is going to really pay attention to the organization of information and paragraphing, so structure is absolutely vital. Let's go over the structure for Task 1 writing in another video. And just to remind you, structure and linking devices constitute 25% of your marks under coherence and cohesion. Step 10 is the importance of having linking expressions demonstrating to your examiner that you have a range of linking devices that connect information and compare information in a coherent manner. As Liz mentions, linking's easy to learn, but you need to ensure that you use the right linking expressions based on the charts being analyzed. Okay, guys, we're getting to the end, and we're up to step 11, which is reviewing model answers for Task 1 writing. Liz mentions that it's absolutely necessary for you to study safe models, even though there are a ton of different examples available for you to look at online. Your best bet is to look at models by Cambridge, British Council, IDP, or former IELTS examiners. And our final step for Task 1 preparation is finally here, and this is to practice using the answer sheet. Make sure you get a fair amount of practice using the Writing Task 1 writing exercises using an official IELTS answer sheet so that you know how to fill it in properly. Okay, guys, this wraps up things for this week. Hey, did this help you out? Leave your questions or your comments below if you're watching on YouTube. Once again, a big thanks to IELTS Liz and her amazing resources for Task 1 writing. Check out our Hacking IELTS courses, which are available on Udemy and bluebrain.app. If you're on the go, check out the Hacking IELTS podcast on Apple, Google, and most podcast directories. Thanks for tuning in. Take care, guys, and catch you in the next one.